Well, we're back with another video, and this time we're working on the 6-wheel drive ambulance. Now, I have a trip coming up of around about 1,000 kilometers, or a little bit more. Due to COVID, this thing's been a bit of a garage queen. We've done 6,000 Ks in the last 12 months. There are Aussies everywhere here. So, it needs an oil change, and in fact it needs pretty much all the fluids checking and the diff oil replacing and everything. But because I have multiple sclerosis, I'm pretty knackered. I've also far exceeded my abilities helping out a mate after his father's died. So I'm going to pay a mechanic to do some of this stuff. There's a few things though I'd rather the mechanic not do. One of which is greasing the drive shafts underneath. Mostly because I use a lithium-based general purpose marine grease on all the uni joints. They only have moly grease in their things, so I'm not quite sure about how those two greases interact or if they're compatible. So today I am going to get on the creeper, which is a challenge for me since I've had brain lesions, because I get the head spins when I'm laying on my back real bad. So we're going to see if I can crawl under this thing and yeah, re-grease everything. But for now, I need to get it in the driveway. Alright, so next step we have to find my grease gun, which I believe is hiding out in here. Namely because this Argo requires lots and lots of grease. So, let's see. Pull you out and we'll pull this one out. Alright. Take our grease gun and head back. Now the box I pulled out is a bunch of specialty grease fitment adapters. I can't remember the exact terminology, but we'll show you here. I really need to repaint this. So these are all extra fittings to get into the tight spots that I can't get to, and the one I use the most is this guy. You can slide straight over a grease nipple, so that works really well. Alright, now I need to get underneath. That's all we need. Alright, so what we're looking for at the front here is winch drive shaft grease points. There's one there, because we're going to test the winch before we go away. There's our grease gun. Well, I can't get to it from under the bash plate here. This is where our hoist would be really nice. Well, we can have a look. We've got a perished power steering hose under here. Oh, I don't like that. But also, it's a big endeavour to change that. So, yeah. I think that will probably last 1,000 Ks. We'll certainly be doing that later. Have a look here. So our power steering hose is a little perished. These are our belts that aren't quite on the idler pulley. Right. Oh, they are. The idler pulley's just not quite aligned. They're the two for my alternator belt. The sump is looking alright. Doesn't look like it's leaking. There is a bit of oil coming out of the weighting plug, but I'll get the guys to check that when they do it. Yes, I put new bushes on the steering damper. Just checking everything while we're under here. Alright, I don't know if there's a grease nipple in that. I don't know at all. Anyway, the winch is not that important at the moment because we're going to be taking paved roads. So let's go find some grease nipples. Alright, so this creep is a little bit higher up than I expected. So, luckily we can get to at least one of them. So let's get to this one. Oh, and that one needs wiping off too. Don't want to pump junk in the grease. Right. Here we go here. That one looks okay. I won't put too much in that one. The slip joints don't need that much. Now, where is the nipple on this one? It's right there. We might be able to get that one. We're here, so we might as well try. Oh. Can we get in the gap? Not quite. Yes, we can. Awesome. Let's pump a bit into that one. I hope it's going in the joint. Now it feels like it is. Yep, I hear crackle coming out the side. That's good. Here we go. So that's two of them. Let's see what we can get up here. Alright, I've got the front uni joint. Let's see what we've got going here. Oh, oil filters look nasty under this one. Alright, that's the joint in there. Do I have enough? I've got a little bit of slack on this. So, where is our nipple? Is in that one. I need to get into putting long nipples on these ones. Long nipples. I'm getting text messages now. Right when I'm under. Why can nobody message when I'm not occupied? I think that one's on. Feels like it. And that stupid wire hook's in the way. Alright. Well, hopefully I haven't just wasted a bunch of grease on the side of it. I may have, but I tried. Alright, let's see what we've got up the back. Okay, well we're up the back and we've got a whole mess of drive shafts here. This one, which the camera's magneted onto, this guy is the PTO drive that runs the third axle when a set of diff locks enabled. However, it's a live rear axle the rest of the time, so this still spins. This guy is easy to get to. So this is the slip joint. And this is the handbrake drum we're looking at. Let's put about 5 pumps in there, not too much. Now, where's our nipple? Our nipple is poking out the side here. We might have got lucky and got most of our nipples in the same place. That sounds wrong. Alright. Now, let's get that one in there. Oh, and it's going to go on. Oh, I love when it's that easy. Except, getting the hands in the right spot. Oh, don't spray out the side. Yep, that feels firm. Alright, now, slip and joint for this one. There's no slip joint on this section. There's a cardan joint up here, which I'll have to look at in a minute. Where's our nipple on this one? They're never facing me, but I might be able to get into that one. Wipe the junk off the top. see if we can get this one in around. Oh, that's a vacuum line by the look of that. No, that's a diff breather. No, that is the cable for the winch PTO. Now, decided our nipple was in there, did we? I'm going to be done for the day once I do this. This is pretty much all the energy I'm going to have today. It's one of the things that sucks about MS. Look. No, that's not going to get in between the gap. So I'm going to have to do that one after I roll it around a little bit. So we'll move it up a little bit. Alright, now that I'm spending a bit of relaxed time up here, I'm noticing a few things. My muffler's a bit rusty and my fuel lines are a little bit hard in here too. So there will be a few things I need to do. This nipple, however, is facing right at me, but the unfortunate thing about that is I probably still won't be able to get the grease gun onto it. So it's going to be inside that UJ. Just the wrong angle. Oh, are we going to pump grease everywhere? Yep, it's not going to feed grease into it. Alright, now there's cardan joints next. Let's see what we can do with that. Now, if you haven't seen one of these before, this is a cardan joint. And it's actually kind of three universal joints in one. There's one uni joint there, another uni joint there, and there's a cup in between the two that keep them in direct relation to each other. And this is kind of like the poor man's constant velocity joint, or CV joint. So, and there is 3 grease nipples in here, and I had to pull this apart and repack it. There's one over there, and there's one on that side. They're both on the same side. We might get into that. Let's see. Alright. A lot of this is done by feel, and this is generally why I like to pay somebody else to do this crap, because I hate doing this work. Oh, this grease gun's heavy when it's hanging upside down like this. Is that a uni? It's a grease nipple. Definitely feels like it. Can I get my grease gun onto it though? Where are you? Alright. Now, the problem I've got is I don't fit underneath the diff while I'm on this creeper. So it's actually not much useful. I'm actually kind of wedged under the fuel tank at the moment. I'm going to have to get out, and then I'm going to have to crawl in the hard way. Alright. So I crawled out and then got back in without the creeper. Now I'm getting choked out by my own shirt. Now, I think we're on the joint, on the nipple. Let's see how I go here. Oh, come on. No. Doesn't feel like the grease is going in, but we'll try the other one. See if we can get that one. No. Ah, that might be. Oh, that's the nipple there. This one's at the very top, so I can't get that one. So have to get the ones we can, I guess. Alright. So while I'm under here, I notice there's a bit of oil coming off here, and it's green, so it's probably diff oil. I think I might have a leaking diff seal in here. I guess I'll get him to check this. I'm going to get him to top up and replace all the diff oils, so hopefully they can do that. It's not too hard to get a seal for this. These covers come off. You put another gasket on them. But yeah, leaky gasket. Not great, but also further credence to my justification for getting all this done before I go away. Now, I want to have a look at this joint here. Where is our nipple? Right on top, which is also the least accessible spot. I'm not even going to try with that one because I know I can't get it from there. So I'm going to have to move this, and I'm going to have to get back under again. This is about my energy done for the day though. This is the problem. And I'm about 4 days away from my next infusion, so I'll be better off with that. But by that time it'll be time for me to go as well. So yeah, I'm going to go inside, wash my hands, have a rest, and then I'm going to come back out again and move this a few inches and try again. Alright, so I had a rest break and I got sick of making my clothes dirty, so I decided to climb under here in a t-shirt and white shorts. I mean, who does that? Although they're supposed to be khaki, but they're more like a slightly off white when I got them. And I forgot my grease rag on the way under, so at least let's get this slip joint done. Let's see if we can get a bit of grease into that one. You don't want to put too much into the slip joints. You can do some damage if you overdo that. There's a grease nipple in here. We might be able to get to this one. Let's see how we go. Nope, oh, I missed. There's no avoiding getting grease on your hands when you do this. Alright, I think I might have got right on that one. I really hope you're going into the uni joint and not around it. Yeah, that feels like it. That definitely got grease into it. Alright. Okay, oh, I can see one of the cardan joint nipples from this side. Bring our angle around here. See if we can get onto that one. Oh, I actually got it on. That's surprising. We feel fairly nicely aligned. Okay, that one's got grease. That's good. Where's the other one? On the top. Well, it's on the open side. Might have got lucky. Got that in the right spot. Yep, that's definitely a nipple. And we're on. Oh, cooking with gas. And there's a little bit of pressure on the gun. That feels like we got some grease into that. Alright. That central one I can't get to without dismantling it, and I gave it a good dose when we did. We redid that for the roadie about 12 months ago. And this has got a boot on it, so that'll be fine. Alright, so I think that's about it for the rear shaft. Oh! I just smashed my knee on something on my shin. Oh. Alright. Rest break time while I swear. Now, there's probably going to be all sorts of weird aspect ratios in this because the GoPro switches its orientation depending on how I stick it on with a magnet under here, so we'll work with what we've got. Now, let's just do a double check. This is the rear tail shaft, the main drive. This is the intermediate one. So we have our third axle up the back there. We've just done all of that. This one's the important one. This is carrying the bulk of the load. It's also the diff that I think is leaking slightly. So that'll be good. Now we need to check. I don't know if we put grease on that one. There's a little bit of red grease on that one. I think I got to that one before. Now let's go up the front. Yes, the one we didn't get is the one right beside the handbrake drum. Let's move our camera. Alright, so what we're looking at here is a handbrake drum. This is our intermediate drive shaft. This is our rear drive shaft, and I'm seeing grease nipple facing me. So I'm going to feed it some grease while I can see it. I always like to do that if I've got the opportunity. Oh. These grease nipples, you've got to be exactly the right angle to feed grease into them. Oh. That one got very firm, so I think I've got grease in it. Yeah, don't fall on me. Okay, get off. Fling around that bit. Right, we're pretty much under the seats in the front here. Now, if you get a bit of oil leaking out of the bottom of this, it's probably the main shaft seal. Oh, sorry, the seal in the transfer case. There's a little felt seal in there that leaks, and it leaks into here. And there's a little drain hole in the bottom. It leaks out, but you will get oil on your handbrake drum if that happens. So, yeah, just be wary if that has got a bit of oil on it, like mine does. It's probably a little bit of a leak. More concerning, I'm seeing what looks like engine oil, which is probably what's inside the gearbox, leaking or accumulating under here. Now, it's a bit far back for that to be off the oil filters, so I've probably got an oil leak somewhere in here. So definitely, if I'm going to do 1,000 Ks, it's worth checking. Feels like I got the grease gun onto that one before I did fresh bread grease. Alright, I've got that one as well, and I've got the ones up the front. I'm just going to crawl up there and just double check them. Alright, so I've checked everything. I've got all of these ones on the front, including the slip joint. Should be pretty good. That hasn't had a lot of work, so grease is not likely to be too far gone. There's a bit of oil around that diff as well, so unless this is accumulated oil after because I topped up these diffs about 12 months ago and it hasn't had a lot of work, so maybe it's some of the residual oil coming down on the bottom. This guy, there's definitely something in the weighting plug there that will need to be drained. I'll get them to do that because CBF, I'm paying them some money, they've got something to do. Now, something interesting under here. We'll spin our camera around. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, this is the transmission mount, and there's a couple of positions you can mount it in. I've heard some rumours from somebody in the, what is it, Perentie Owners Australia page on Facebook, that there were experiments with some of the six-wheel drives using the Isuzu 6BD1 engine, or 6BD1T, which is basically the 5.8 litre 6-cylinder version of the 3.9 litre 4-cylinder that's in here. They basically bolt straight onto the same bell housing, but they're a tiny bit longer. And I'm told that there was mountings in some vehicles to change the engine mounts to a different location. And it looks a bit like what's going on here, but I don't know. It could be. And up the front I've got a similar thing going on. It's a bit hard to show you with the camera because it's buried right in there, but you could in theory mount this mounting back about 2 inches. I'm not sure if that'd be enough to fit a 6BD1 in, because I've never laid my eyes on one, but it'd certainly be nice to have a lot extra horsepower. But it's got to go somewhere, and I reckon you'd probably break something else in the drivetrain. The 4BD1 has some pretty serious torque impulses that do cause some problems, like gearbox chatter. Alright, well, I've also had a look at the winch shaft here. There is no way in hell I'm going to get a grease gun into there without taking the shaft off. This doesn't remove all that much, so in fact I don't think we've ever actually tested that winch, so I think that might be what I'm going to do today, is test the winch while we're at it too. So let's get out from under here. Alright, so I managed to crawl my way out from underneath the vehicle, and now we're looking at the PTO winch, which does have a couple of grease nipples on it. 3 that I can see here. One looks like it's been painted over. I suspect this hasn't had grease in it for some time. Alright, so let's see if we can get some grease in. And we might remove the junk off the end of the grease gun, including that bit. Alright, you can snap onto that guy. Yep, I can see a little bit coming back out of the fitting, so gate pumps in that one, and we get it in this one as well. Well, that one's a bit firmer. It's obviously the main bearing. We won't go overboard with that. We don't want to pop the seal off the bearing. Right, now we're supposed to put 80W90 gear oil in this. think there's a gear oil. I think that's the fill plug there. So let me go find some gear. Right, I have a spanner set. And now, this is a Thomas winch. I don't know if this is going to be imperial or metric. Let's pick a random one. Let's try with 14. Not quite. And I'll just throw the 14 around in protest. Alright, let's try half inch, because I have an inkling that it's half inch. Oh, it's a bit loose for a half. About 7/16. This might be metric. So in that case, let's try a good old handy dandy 10. Nope. Don't tell me you're going to be 11 mil. No, we're not 11. So 12.5 mil is half an inch. There we go, that is 12 mil. Let's hope it's a lefty loosey. This one ain't been off in a while. Oh, there we go. It moved. That's promising. Alright. We'll be back when we get this out. Alright, we've got stuff loose. And I think it's probably a good thing I checked that. I don't think there's any oil in there. Wow. I'm really happy I checked that. I'm going to guess that's an oil fill plug. There's nowhere else to put oil in. And I seem to recall I looked at the manual and that's pretty much where it said put oil in. So, although clearly the gearbox is on the other side, can't hurt to shove a little bit of gear oil in there anyway. And there's a breather in here which lends credence to the thinking that that actually should have oil in it. So I guess we're going to shove some oil in there. Alright, so I started getting this sneaking suspicion like I might be filling the wrong hole. I've had that before, but not with a winch. Anyway, maybe with a winch. Now, I got the documentation. Now it seems to indicate that the housing, the square bit that is facing the front, which means we're going that way, there's a diff breather heading off, or a breather heading off, and there's a fill plug, and the cable is on that side of things. If that square housing is there and those two big fair lead bolts are there, I'd say we've got the right one. Let's see how much oil takes. Alright, so I've got some Penrite ADW90 gear oil. ATW90 as per the RPS, or repair parts schedule. And there's about 1.5 litres in this bottle, so we'll see how much this goes in. Could take a bit. Alright, we'll be back when we're done. Alright, so it would appear that I'm about as good at applying lubrication as I am in the bedroom. So we'll have to wipe this up with a rag a little bit once we're done. But that's nothing unusual. This took probably about 1 litre of oil, so there probably was some in there. But I feel good having checked that, because it was a long way down. Alright. See if we can do this plug up. Hopefully not so tight that we can't get it undone this time. Firm but not over tight, I think is the phrase we're looking for. You know, I was told once when I worked at a drafting company with a bunch of engineer students, I was told that the less facets you have on a surface, the more torque you can apply to each facet. I think that certainly applies to these square things. Alright, so let's wind some cable out and see if we can make it work. Now, I'm not sure if the dog clutch is doing its thing or not. Let's see. I've got to get this clip unhooked, which this clip needs a bit of a service as well. Can we get that open? We can. Here we go. Now, let's try. That clutch is not engaging. Alright, we'll see. We won't wind too much yet because it's going to be a pain to get it back on if I cannot. Ah, that has gone in and that's locked now. Ah. Okay, so yeah, that's how that works. All right, I was wondering about that because I've never actually used one of these in anger. So I'm guessing reverse winch would be reverse gear on the PTO. All right, let's wind this out all the way, and or at least not all the way, enough that I can hitch it up to my trailer and drag that back in with a slight load on. There we go. It hasn't moved in a while. All right, let's hop in the cab and see what we can do. All right, so I have read the manual. Even though I'm semi-familiar with these, I like to read the manual anyway. We're going to select neutral, and we're going to select low range here just because I don't want to go in too fast until I know what's happening. Now, let's lift up to engage and down to disengage. That was halfway engaged. I'm glad that dog clutch was disengaged. I guess that's why we have it. All right, now I'm supposed to start the engine. Okay. Now lift up to engage. Select the low forward gear. All right, let's lift our clutch out and see what happens. And our winch is starting to reel in. Awesome. Let's go and stick this camera somewhere cool. Now we're going to put the trailer back and find the wheel stop. There it is. Now as soon as I let this go, it's going to roll backwards. Just a little bit. All right. Now, super easy to forget thing. Put that back in neutral before we drive off. Oh, and disengage the other thing. All right, and disengage that. Now, my winch sounded a little grindy. That could be the drive shaft. It could be the fact that we're dragging stuff on the cable. Could be the fact that the gearbox has been dry for a while. lots of things. But now that I've moved it around, I'm going to pump a little bit more grease in here and we might be done for the day. All right. Putting 5 pumps in each. This one I'm going to go till it feels firm again. Which is pretty much as is. That could be a crook grease nipple too. There we go. Now it's going in. I think that nipple is a bit clogged. That could explain some of the grindy sound. Right, there's a fair bit going in there. Better than no grease at all. We'll wipe these off because we don't want dirt and stuff accumulating, at least as little as we can. All right, I think we're about done. All right, well, I'm back inside. I'm taking a break and I'm done for the day. I've started to have a gout flare up, as well as my left eye started to go a bit funny. The gout is an entirely independent problem. It's a hydration issue. I started getting that when I first started climbing fire towers, like close to a decade ago now. But the multiple sclerosis, my warning sign is when I start having little vision fluctuations in my left eye, it's time to stop. So, you know, I've done a couple hours work. It's taken me to do those grease fittings. You can imagine why I'm paying a mechanic to do the rest of the stuff this time, because if I try and do it, I'm gonna knacker myself for the next 3 weeks. So yeah, at this point the money is worth less to me than the time and the energy. So yeah, we'll see you all in the next one, and hopefully I'll be doing more of this mechanical stuff. People have been asking a lot about it. There's some electronic stuff to do. There's a whole bunch of other things I need to do, but as you probably tell, my videos have been a bit fickle the last few weeks, and that's because I have been run down. I've had a mate who's had a significant loss and I've been working really hard to help him out. So yeah, I'm quite run down from that as well. And I have a 1,000-kilometer trip coming up that I need to prepare for, part of why we're doing this as well. So anyway, we'll see you in the next one. Hope it was fun, and hope I didn't piss off too many people with my lack of knowledge. Anyway, see you later.